nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you join me in a moment of silence? Thank you very much. Please silence your cell phones, pagers, and such. Do we have any citizen concerns? Can I get an approval of the agenda, please?
Move approval of the agenda, Mr. Chair.
I will second the motion by Mr. Taylor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Consent agenda items 3 through 9 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 3, approval of the minutes of the March 27, 2018 meeting. Item 4, approval of claims. Item 5, approval of resolution thanking and commending Mona Scaletta for years of service to Woodbury County. Item 6, board administration, public bidder. Approval of resolution for notice of property sale for parcel ending in 009. Also known as 1015 Pier Street for April 17, 2018 at 4:35. Item 7 is human resources. Item A, approval of memorandum of personnel transactions. Item B, authorization to initiate hiring. And C, approval of deauthorization of county position.
I have a question on these items.
Okay.
What is the current pay in those positions?
Okay. Mrs. Thomas. Human Resources, not knowing who the position is going to be filled by. Right now, if it is filled by the most senior person, it would be a raise of $2.26.
And then how many, what was it, sergeants do we currently have? So you're going strike 2 deputies, add 2 sergeants, right?
Right, right. So these are senior deputy paid that are usually working in the acting sergeant position. By promoting these 2 people, it's $10,000. We pay for acting sergeant roughly $18,000. So this would be a savings of money. If there are those times that we need to have an acting sergeant, which I hope not, then we could pay, but the costs should never exceed what we already have. This is better oversight. This is what we're looking for. Cannot have a person that is a sergeant and then the one day there's an acting sergeant and then the next day he's a deputy. It doesn't work for supervision wise. And so this is a clear way of running the patrol division.
Is this budgeted?
Right. Everything's budgeted now. All I'm doing is taking that budget dollars for acting sergeant's pay and using that money to make those real positions. So you're a full-time sergeant all the time. And that way I have the coverage, not one day you're a sergeant, one day you're not. That doesn't work. It's bad management. No cost.
Didn't you say, though, I agree with what you're saying, by doing the sergeant full-time, it's $10,000, actually you're in the $1.50 or whatever it was, you're paying $18,000 over a period of time, so you're covering the 10 plus saving $8,000.
Correct.
That's the way I understand
Right.
it.
Now, there could be those off times where we could pay a little bit, and it's deciding if I want to structure. We have 4 teams now. If I go to 3, then I won't ever have the issue. I like the 4 teams because how we operate is a little different. We operate from our residents. So when we have the overlap, it's beneficial. I like to have a couple hours overlap versus an hour overlap. That's why I went to 4 teams. I think it's saved on overtime. I go to 3, then I got to worry about, I try to do those in 9-hour increments. So I have an hour before the next team comes on if something comes up. But I like a couple extra hours just in case that team gets tied up, that we're not paying a lot of overtime.
So you're saying this is actually budget neutral though because of?
Right.
Or is it actually costing $8,000 more?
No.
Saving 8,000.
Saving you money.
Okay.
I know that's a hard word for you to digest, but I am saving money.
All right.
No, it's actually not only I can't promise you it'll save 8, but I'll guarantee you pretty darn close, at least 4 or 5. Okay. And I'm going to work my best to keep it to that.
Okay.
We'll see how it works out, but it's not going to be any more costs. It's just going to allow us to have better supervision. That's what we're all after.
We save you on the liability too.
Liability is the biggest
road,
issue.
I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
You good?
Good.
All right, thanks, Sheriff.
Thanks.
Item 8, County Auditor. 8A is approval of liquor license application for White Horse Patrol Club. Item B is approval of beer license application for Cold Beer Mobile. Item 9 is secondary roads, consideration of a permit for working in the county right of way. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Ung to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Item 10, presentation of a resolution thanking and commending Sharon Schroeder for years of service to Woodbury County. I will read this and then I'll come down and present it to you. Resolution number 12,706, resolution thanking and commending Sharon Schroeder for her service to Woodbury County. Whereas Sharon Schroeder has capably served Woodbury County as an employee of the Sealand District Health Department for 19 years, from January 11th, 1999 to April 6th of 2018. Whereas the service given by Sharon Schroeder as a Woodbury County employee has been characterized by her dedication to the best interests of the citizens of Woodbury County. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors, Woodbury County, Iowa, that the undersigned members of this board thanks and commends Sharon Schroeder for her years of service to Woodbury County, and be it further resolved that it is the wish of all those signing below that the future hold only the best for this very deserving person, Sharon Schroeder. So be it resolved on the 20th day of March, 2018.
And thank you very much. Get photographer Kevin to do his deal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, board. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we still have some time before, so item 11 is the Communications Center, approval of resolution fixing date for April 24th, 2018 at 4:40 for a public hearing on an agreement for long lines to lease Starcom fiber. Is there any comments or anything you need to add, Mr. Glenn?
Been working with County Attorney's Office, Josh Woodman, and getting an agreement put together between Starcom and Long Lines. Recommending that we set a public hearing for April 24th at 4:40 to present that agreement to the board and for public input.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Raddick, to approve the resolution fixing the date for April 24th of 2018 at 4:40 for public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
You could have told Glenn to talk longer or something, take up that extra 4 minutes for the next item.
do committee meetings.
We will skip ahead a few minutes to, the only thing we have left is a set time at 4:45.
Committee meetings.
Can we get to reports on committee meetings? Mr. Taylor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We had a
You can easily use up 4 minutes. can't you?
I'll try my best. So,
Okay.
we had a historic Centennial Committee meeting today, and very appreciative to the group. 3 things that I think are important to let you know about. We have a series of press releases that are going out, and on this Friday, April 6th, from noon to 1, the curator of history, Matt Anderson, will give a tour of all the items that were extracted from the time capsule, so that'll be something that nobody wants to miss. And then we'll have a series of press releases that'll go out concurrently after that. April 10th, tickets will go on sale to the general public for the banquet, which is going to be a big deal, on Saturday, May 5th, and that will have 260 people, probably 2 of the most famous architectural historians in the country, the University of Virginia's chair of architectural history and the Chicago historian curator of the city of Chicago will both be here for presentations that night, and we'll have remarks from the governor's office. So those are 2 things, and the audiovisual tour is stunning, and I'm not exaggerating. That is going to, you think you're listening to something from the History Channel. It is 20 different segments, smartphone synced, Mark Munger and some local talent. So that's going to be a very, very good thing. A lot of work the committee's doing. Our website continues to drive high numbers. Thank you to Supervisor Ung on that. And so here we go.
Good job. And good job.
Thank you.
Any committees, further committees on this end?
I got one more.
Sir?
So, week from Friday, Director Foxhoven will be in the region, and by that I mean the general area, and hoping to interface and talk about the exemption process for Woodbury County to provide high-quality mental health services, as well as the disposition of the crisis center and some things that we need to have solved. So very appreciative that he is driving this direction, and look forward to a very good cooperative meeting. So that's all I got.
Okay. Mr. Auditor, are we close enough? We can go to the... We are. All right. We have a set hearing at 4:45 for Community and Economic Development from Director Gleiser. And the first one is public hearing and first reading to amend the text in the land use summary table of allowed uses, section 3.03 through 4 in the Woodbury County zoning ordinance.
Thank you. David Gleiser, Community Economic Development Director. This is a follow-up item related to the task that we were charged with early last month as it relates to finding an appropriate zoning district for the retail sale of fireworks to occur in unincorporated Woodbury County. In coordination with the Zoning Commission and the Board of Adjustment, our department facilitated 2 public meetings in Woodbury County, one in Mobile and one in Salix, both at 6 p.m. at the respective community centers. We published notices in all of our county newspapers and advertised the meeting through each city council. We sent notices out to city clerks. We sent notices out to all of the relevant county departments and community stakeholders and other related regulatory agencies that might have some comment as far as where we allow the retail sales to occur. And all that information, all of the written comments that we received along with the minutes of those public meetings, as well as the recommendation from the Zoning Commission, are included. Last night at the Board of Adjustment meeting, the Board of Adjustment voted to receive and sort of approve the recommendation that we're putting forward. The Board of Adjustments actions are not technically required as it relates to the ordinances and how we amend the text, but because we mentioned them on March 6th as being involved, we wanted to have them review the proposed text amendment as well. It's quite simple. What we're proposing is to amend the land use summary table and to allow or to add the words or the letters OK under general commercial zoning district and include fireworks for consumer, retail, and display.
And this is, remind me, I think you told me earlier that this is just basically finalizing what the state is kind of.
So the county last year, even though the state had passed the fireworks law, we had not amended our ordinances to reflect where someone who was licensed to sell them could. So at last year, or up until the county designates an area, it's up to the zoning administrator's discretion. And we've basically, through a lot of public input and stakeholder input, have landed on, we believe, the general commercial zoning district is the most appropriate place to divert retail vehicle traffic. And it's where people pay commercial property taxes, and there seems to be no interest in allowing the sale of fireworks to occur in an agricultural setting or residential setting. So
would this essentially prohibit that by fiat, that could not be done?
Correct.
Okay.
We've also worked on a standalone ordinance for the Board of Supervisors to review and consider adopting as it relates to the use, sale, and display permit process that we'd like to present next week for consideration. So this would be something separate. Right now, what we're doing is we're just asking to amend the text in the ordinance in that land use summary map or table. But next week is the ordinance that would essentially codify what you have all requested in terms of not regulating the time frame of when people can use it, but where you can sell them. And then what we've also done is taken the liberty and made a recommendation on the process of a group or an individual that would like to request a permit to set off a display of fireworks. And we believe we just put in some better language for that process and a better process for the board. So this does require 3 readings, and if it's the board's will, we can close the public hearing and go through the first reading. It'd be my intent to follow up with the second reading and third reading, in the next few consecutive board meetings.
So I got a question here. Now, you're looking to, are you trying to create a new district called like GCOK, or it's just okay for fireworks in all GC district areas?
Yeah, just okay under all GC zoning districts.
Okay. Because if you're looking to create a new thing like that, then it's much more expensive. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, am I understanding that we're now in a public hearing?
As I understand it, yes, sir.
Any public comments?
Hearing no public comments, Mr. Chair, I move that the public hearing be closed.
I will second the motion by Mr. Taylor to close the public hearing. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
I'd move to approve the first reading and amend the text of the Woodbury County zoning ordinance to add the sale of fireworks as a principal allowed use in the general commercial zoning district in the land use summary table of allowed uses in section 3.03-4 under the retail sales, service, and rentals of consumer, home, and business goods.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by Young. Further comments?
I would have just moved 12A.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Passes 5-0. Item 12B, receive recommendation from Zoning Commission and approval of resolution accepting and approving the final plat of Berg Addition, a minor subdivision.
It's a pretty straightforward subdivision request that's already been approved by the zoning commission. Mrs. Berg is intending to subdivide her parcel into 2 lots, and it's primarily a banking mortgage requirement that the acreage be split from the farm. It's not within a 2-mile limit of any municipality, so there's been no 2-mile or no extraterritorial review, excuse me. And all property owners within 1,000 feet and listed within the certified abstractor's affidavit have been notified. We haven't received any. One comment from a property owner had been received. That's been attached, as well as other written comment that we've received.
So moved.
Pretty straightforward.
Did you move 12B? If not, I'll move it.
Yeah, that was
Oh, okay, I'll second it.
Motion
trying to
by,
use shorter words, but look at where we're at now.
Then they didn't work.
motion by Taylor, second by Radig on item 12B. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further reports on committee meetings? Do we have any citizen concerns? Hearing none. Do we have any board concerns?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Sir.
I was just wondering, has anyone on the board heard back or reached out to the Sioux City Council on our action last week regarding the Upfront Ag Expo?
That's the same thing. I've heard nothing. Have you heard anything, Dennis?
Nothing was,
They didn't have it on their agenda yesterday?
not that I'm aware of, no. Did you reach out to Bob by chance or the mayor?
I have not, but I will.
Okay.
Any further board?
Get the land deal.
Yes.
He'll fill in more here, but we had very positive responses from the taxpayers who were out there, farmers. A lot of them were there to see what it was bought for, get an idea what their property is worth. But we had a lot of comments saying they really appreciate the county getting it for conservation.
Getting what, Dennis?
Yeah.
What?
Getting what, Dennis? For the millions of viewers, we need
Sorry.
to set this up.
The public auction was attended by Mark Nair, myself, and the county, Ben. The land for sale, the board authorized to go up to $750,000. We got it for $550,000. Also, and he can fill you on the benefits of the gravel, but the people did appreciate that the county did get it. The Bryce family that actually had the property were very happy about it because they felt conservation was a high priority. And with the gravel mixed in with it, it's a win-win for everybody.
We had discussed what the value of this property was worth. We were estimating around 600,000 tons minimum of gravel resource that was out there. Typical savings with gravel where we're producing it from a pit that we own is about $1 per ton. So we're well inside of that with the ownership of this property. Plus we have the added advantage of a certain portion of that will be turned over to conservation when it's done as an additional fishing resource. This links property that comes all the way from the south end of Little Sioux Park, all the way through the park, through another gravel reserve that we have, and connects to Highway 31, now across 31, where they have that timbered acreage that they were able to pick up at a pretty good price yesterday as well. So,
How many total acres did we get?
there was 108 acres north of Highway 31 that is not part of the gravel reserve. That is all proposed to be conservation acreage. It's primarily timber with a little bit of crop. The Heritage Foundation assisted conservation with that purchase. Then we purchased 76 surveyed acres outside of right-of-way, did I say?
What's the
It was
south
83
side?
acres total, 76 acres net. About 30 to 35 acres of that sits on some very nice gravel reserves that we'll be taking. We got that for $7,200 per acre, just over $550,000 total. So that comes out to about 87 cents a ton for those reserves. far as what the cost to us would be.
Mark, for the good of the public, can you give us, in terms of payback, you had generally calculated that this will have paid for itself and secondary roads through local option will pay that back, so to speak?
Secondary roads will be paying the general fund back. Dennis and I still have to work that out, but it'll probably be between 4 and 5 years we'll pay it back. And then conservation will be paying us 50% of the value of the acreage that will remain a conservation park. We will then have the additional land, roughly 40 acres, that can be rented while we're working with it for crop production. And we already had 3 people asking about how soon they could rent that this year even. And then we would have the potential to sell off that crop acreage once we have that gravel resource fully mined.
So you would have spent 4 or 5 years, you would have spent this money either way.
Oh, yes, we would have.
This is just a gift that keeps on giving.
Right. Again, it is a very positive investment, I think, for the county in that it has both road asset benefits and recreational benefits when we're done. It should contribute to make a very nice green belt along the Little Sioux River that'll stretch roughly 2.5 miles from end to end where these properties are that'll be under Woodbury County title. I think people will be able to enjoy them for quite a while, even after we're done utilizing your gravel resource there. So.
Not very often we can get land for a good price and then have it serve 2 purposes over the course of
right.
5 to 20 years, somewhere in there.
And the farm rental will help repay our investment even further while we're doing the production on there. My staff and I will be going in and we'll be fencing off a portion that will be reserved for gravel production for now. Then we'll have an acreage calculated and set that out for farm rent. And we take possession of the property May 4th, assuming that it passes the subdivision process that the lots are currently in. So
now I'm curious because Dan said he'd be willing to have his staff help you do the fencing.
Yes, he is going to be doing the fencing for us. We're surveying it and giving him the line on which to put the fence in. So.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're not letting Dan look for that one. That's kind of.
Well, you said your staff was going to be doing it, so I didn't know if this was like a territorial thing now. You know.
No, my staff is doing the survey work. We'll give Dan's crew the line.
Okay.
He is very willing to do that fencing for us. So we'll be working together on this, making sure that when it is, when the quarry or gravel production is completed, that we have a nice looking resource out there for the public to enjoy.
Well, I'd like to commend Mark Nera, Dan Heisel, and Dennis Butler for all working together on being aware that this property was even available and what the potential was for it for the county and the benefit for the county, the conservation department, and of course the taxpayers just for the money saved. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Good job.
Thanks. That's the one you approved.
Oh, okay. Do we have any further board concerns? We are adjourned.